have an equation with a fraction as an exponent, you can get rid of this fraction and the exponent by raising it to the reciprocal of the exponent. So we can raise it to the 2/3 power. And I have to do the same thing to the other side. So that I can keep both sides of the equation equal. Okay, so 3/2 to the 2/3 is the same thing as 6/6, right? You multiply those together, and you get 6/6, which is 1. T minus 10 to the first power is just simply t minus 10. Okay, so now we have 9 to the 2/3 power. So we can look at this as the cube root of 9 squared, or 9 squared and then take the cube root. Okay, so it's basically 9 squared and then take the cube root of it. Or we could have taken the cube root of 9 and then square it. Now look at these. Which one are we going to want to do? So this one right here, we can't take the cube root of 9 because there's no number multiplied by itself 3 times, no whole number. 3 times 3 is 9, so we need 3 3's in order to have it come out of the cube root. Okay? So we're going to square this first. 9 squared is 81, and then we're going to take the cube root of 81. So we're going to break 81 up into 9 times 9. We break up both of those 9's into 3 times 3. And so we have basically 3 multiplied by itself 4 times. So we're going to take 3 of those, and 3 of those, if you have 3 of the same number multiplied together inside of a cube root, they come out as one of those numbers. So we have a 3 on the outside, and what's left inside is the other 3 that's by itself here. Okay, and over here on the left we still just have our t minus 10. And now we can go ahead and add 10 to both sides. And so 10 plus 3 to the cube root of 3, those are not like terms, so we can't add them together. We just have 10 plus 3 times the third root of 3. Okay, so this is our answer, and you have an equation, so you can always check your answer by plugging in place of t, you put 10 plus 3 times the third root of 3, and then we have minus 10. Okay, and we're going to raise that to the 3/2 power. And will that give you 9? Okay, so if it equals 9, then we know that we did everything correctly. So 10 minus 10, those cancel out. Leaves you with 3 to the third times the third root of 3. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and write this as 3 to the 1/3. So 3 times, basically, 3 times 3 to the 1/3. Okay, and we're going to raise that to the 3/2 power. Okay, so 3 to the 3/2 times 3, if I multiply 1/3 times 3/2, that's going to give me 1/2 times 3 to the 1/2. Now, these have the same bases, 3, so I can add these exponents here. 3/2 and 1/2 is 4/2. And so this becomes 3 to the 4/2, which is 3 squared, which is 9. And so there's my check. You can always check to make sure your answer is correct. Okay, So here's one more example. Well, I have two more examples. Here, this one right here, you're going to go ahead and raise both sides to the 3/2. And we know that 2/3 raised to the 3/2, you multiply those, it gives you 1. Those cancel each other out, it gives you z plus 6 over here on the left. And on the right, we're going to have 2 to the 3/2. So we can't really take the square root of 2 yet, so we're going to raise it to the third first. So 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then 8 to the 1/2 is the same as the square root of 8. Okay, so 8 is made up of 2 times 2 times 2, right? So we're going to have 2 of those 2's will group together and come out of the square root as a 2, and the other one stays inside. Okay, now you subtract 6 from both sides, which is the same as adding a -6, so I have a -6 plus 2 times the square root of 2. Okay, now you could go ahead and plug this in and see if you get a 2 when you simplify it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just look at the next example real quick. So I'm going to raise this whole thing, everything over here, by 5 to the 1/2. The reciprocal of 2/5 is 5 over 2. Now if you notice over here, I have this negative. So over here we can see this will cancel out, and this will be x plus 5 equals. Now I want you, even though we can't really take the square root of a -2, we can't do it for several reasons. And one of them is because it's negative. And because it's negative right here, this is a big hint to you that you're going to have no solution. So you could probably, if you're recognizing this and knowing, okay, I can't take the square root of a negative number, so I'm going to go ahead and say no solution. You could go ahead and work this out, and then when you go to check your answer, you would find out that you will have no solution. When you plug it in, it won't work. Okay? And part of that is because when you have this value, no matter what this value was, when you square it, it's going to make it positive. So this can never be a negative. Okay? So if you recognize that, you can save yourself a lot of work.